Chosen one. You're under divine watch, and that's not just a poetic phrase, it's a spiritual truth most people aren't ready to hear. From the moment you were born, unseen forces have hovered around you, not to scare you, but to prepare you. You weren't like the others. You didn't blend in, you didn't follow the noise, and you didn't fit in no matter how hard you tried. That wasn't a flaw, it was a signal. A sign that you've been marked. Heaven doesn't mark the comfortable, the ordinary, or the ones who chase after worldly applause. Heaven marks the hidden, the quiet warriors, the ones who carry divine fire in their chest and don't even know it yet. But here's the truth, because you've been marked, you've also been monitored. You're under divine surveillance, chosen one. Not to limit you, but to guide you. To shield you from battles not meant for your soul, and to walk you through fires that will refine you, not destroy you. But there's something you must understand. With divine watch comes divine wisdom, and with wisdom comes secrecy. This is why you felt the urge to pull away, to go silent, to protect certain dreams even from those closest to you. Because what's inside of you is sacred, and sacred things don't belong in careless hands. You can't share your vision with those who lack spiritual sight. You can't expose your oil to those who don't even carry lamps. And you must not reveal your calling to people who only speak the language of comfort. God didn't choose you to be comfortable. He chose you to be consecrated. He didn't place that burden on your chest to crush you, but to awaken you. Every night you've cried yourself to sleep, every moment you questioned your worth, every room you walked into and felt unseen, it was all part of your sacred concealment. Because sometimes God hides the chosen one, not because they aren't ready, but because the world isn't. You've been asking why you've been feeling watched, why you can't rest, why the attacks feel so personal. It's because darkness has smelled your anointing before you even knew it was there. The enemy has studied you, tried to discourage you, confused you, distracted you, but you're still standing. And that's proof that the divine is still watching, still guarding, still walking you towards something massive. You're not crazy for being quiet. You're not overthinking, you're spiritually aware. This isn't anxiety, it's spiritual alertness. It's what happens when someone is carrying something that hell is afraid of. That's why you've been called to hide some things, protect some truths, and move in silence. You're under divine watch, and when heaven is watching, hell gets nervous. That's why your circle shrank. That's why you had to let go of certain people. Not because you're judgmental, but because your soul started detecting danger. You stopped responding to noise because your spirit is now tuned to frequency. You're no longer attracted to chaos, because your calling now craves clarity. This isn't isolation, this is insulation. This isn't punishment, this is preparation. Your life has been preserved for a divine time, and it's closer than you think. Every delay, every betrayal, every hidden tear, it's all been recorded. Nothing has been missed. And while you've been feeling like nothing is happening, heaven has been moving things behind the scenes. You're under divine surveillance, and not a single step has gone unnoticed. That near-car accident? Watched. That moment you almost gave up? Guarded. That time you said, God, if you're real, show me something? Answered. You're not just being watched, you're being led. And the reason it's been so painful is because transformation doesn't come with comfort. God isn't just elevating your circumstances, He's rebuilding your entire identity. The old you wouldn't survive the blessing that's coming, so it had to die. The fake friendships, the insecure patterns, the need for validation, they were all weights holding you back from your real wings. But now you're ready to become. You've reached a point of spiritual maturity where your silence is louder than your noise. You don't need to explain what God is doing in your life. Those who are assigned to you will recognize you without a single word. This is why you've been called to stay hidden. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. You're not meant to announce yourself. You're meant to walk in such power that heaven confirms your presence. Let the world sleep on you. Let the doubters scoff. Let the ones who left believe you were nothing without them. Because when God reveals what has been hiding, there will be no denying it. But until that moment comes, protect your anointing. Guard your peace. Cover your calling. You're under divine watch, and what's hidden in you is too holy to be handled by unclean hands. It's time to stop explaining, stop begging, and stop shrinking. You're not small, you were just camouflaged. But not for long. The divine is about to do something through you that will shock even those who knew your name but never knew your spirit. And as the fire inside you grows, the need for external approval fades. Because now you finally understand, you were never meant to be seen. You were meant to be revealed. Because now you finally understand, you were never meant to be seen. You were meant to be revealed. And revelation doesn't happen in the crowd, it happens in the cave, in the hidden places where no one applauds, no one notices, and yet everything inside you is being shaped into fire. That cave you've been trapped in emotionally, mentally, spiritually, it wasn't a prison, it was a divine cocoon. While the world thought you were being crushed, heaven was reshaping you. While you were misunderstood, God was rewriting your DNA. You weren't being ignored, you were being prepared. You were never rejected, you were rerouted. You weren't being punished, you were being purified. And now that your spiritual senses have sharpened, you don't walk like before. You don't talk like before. Your silence holds weight. Your presence has a frequency. You no longer need to prove who you are, because your atmosphere announces you before your mouth ever opens. This is why the divine watch intensified. Because the deeper your anointing grows, the more hell tries to interfere. That's why your past tried to follow you. That's why old habits suddenly resurfaced. It's not weakness, it's warfare. But you're still standing. Still chosen. Still hidden under divine protection. Because you're not just being watched, you're being preserved. Not for applause, but for purpose. Not for hype, but for heaven's timing. And chosen one, you must keep this hidden. The visions God gave you in the midnight hour, the dreams no one clapped for, the calling that even you doubted, those things are sacred. They were entrusted to your spirit, not to be displayed but to be developed. And development demands privacy. That's why God has placed an invisible "Do Not Disturb" sign on your life. Some doors didn't open because He sealed them. Some people left because they were never meant to understand you. Some opportunities faded because they were traps in disguise. Stop trying to mourn what God removed. Stop trying to explain what heaven has concealed. You're not losing, it's being filtered. You're not late, you're being aligned. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it's lonely. But that pain you're feeling is the stretch of your wings breaking through what used to hold you. You've outgrown the version of yourself that begged for permission to shine. You've evolved beyond needing confirmation from blind souls. Now, your light is undeniable, even when you say nothing. And because of this, the divine watch has tightened. You've stepped into rare air, into levels where your every move affects more than just you. You carry generational weight. You carry deliverance for people you've never met. Your voice is a frequency that wakes others from spiritual slumber. So, heaven must guard you differently. You'll feel the restriction, the caution, the pullback, not as punishment, but as positioning. You are not to move carelessly. You are not to reveal prematurely. You are not to hand your sacred oil to those who drain, not fill. Your sensitivity is your strength. Your silence is your shield. And your discernment is your divine radar. That's why when something is off, you feel it before it's spoken. That's why you sense danger in smiling faces and hear warnings in friendly voices. You're not paranoid, you're prophetic. You don't see people as they present themselves, you see the spirit behind their mask. And that gift, that depth, is why you must keep your garden guarded. Because snakes don't attack empty places, they slither toward fruit. And your spirit is overflowing. Don't apologize for your distance. Don't shrink your shine to fit into dim rooms. Don't dilute your message to be palatable to the blind. You were never called to blend in, you were sent to disrupt patterns. And with every step you take in truth, your authority grows louder in the spirit. That's why the attacks have gotten more subtle but more strategic. Because the enemy knows brute force won't move you anymore. Now, he tries to distract you with good things that aren't God things. He uses fake alignments, delayed promises, emotional fatigue. But you, chosen one, must stay alert. Stay hidden. Stay sealed in divine instruction. Because what you carry is rare, and rare things require rare protection. You're not just carrying a calling, you're carrying a movement. And movements are built in silence. You don't need the crowd, you need the cloud. You don't need platform, you need presence. You don't need noise, you need instructions. And the instructions are coming. Through quiet moments. Through midnight awakenings. Through gut instincts you can't ignore. Listen closely. Heaven is speaking through the whispers. Through the patterns. Through the closed doors. Through the delayed texts. Through the things that don't make logical sense but bring spiritual peace. This is divine language. The language of the chosen. And if you keep trying to expose what God is still concealing, you'll delay your own deliverance. Stop oversharing what you're still healing from. Stop casting pearls into hands that only clap when you bleed. Stop giving access to those who only love you when you're broken. You're not their entertainment, you are God's instrument. You're not a story for gossip, you are a seed for global awakening. But seeds don't scream. Seeds go deep. Seeds disappear before they bloom. And that's where you are now, buried but breathing. Hidden but holy. Unseen but unstoppable. You've been trusted with too much to move recklessly. That's why heaven is watching. That's why the angels have increased their assignments around you. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. You are not forgotten, you are being formed. And when the moment of revealing comes, it will be undeniable. You won't have to announce it. You won't have to prove it. What heaven has hidden will be heaven's to reveal. But until then, stay low, stay wise, stay sacred. Every temptation to post, to prove, to panic, that's a test. Pass it. Every urge to react, to defend, to explain, that's a trap. Resist it. You are above the noise now. You've risen beyond the reach of basic warfare. Now you're in the realm of legacy. Generational transformation. Spiritual awakening. And with that, comes quiet obedience. Not lazy silence, strategic surrender. You are moving in prophetic stealth. You are obeying invisible instructions. You are following divine whispers, not public approval. Let them misunderstand you. Let them mock your silence. Let them question your decisions. Because they didn't hear what you heard. They weren't there when you were broken in secret. They didn't see you wrestle with God in the midnight hour. They didn't cry your hidden tears. They didn't fast. They didn't die to self. But you did. That's why the oil on you costs what it does. That's why the divine watches you like it does. That's why the enemy can't touch you the way he wants to. Because your destiny is wrapped in fire, and fire cannot be handled with bare hands. Only those who've been purified by similar flames will recognize your light. So stop opening the gate for wolves in sheep's clothing. Stop giving platform to spirits that only wear smiles. Stop underestimating your presence. When you walk into a room, the spirit realm shifts. When you speak, dimensions respond. When you move, heaven aligns and hell trembles. That's why God won't let you move fast. That's why you keep hearing wait. That's why the divine watch feels heavy, because it is. Because you're not common. You're not random. You're not replaceable. You're marked. And marked people move differently. They think deeply. They walk quietly. They guard fiercely. Because what they carry isn't for display, it's for destiny. And destiny isn't rushed. So be patient. Keep this hidden. Keep your joy sacred. Keep your strategies quiet. Keep your warfare private. Because one day, when the sky splits and your moment comes, everything that tried to bury you will wish it had bowed to you. But until then, watch, wait, and walk wisely. You're under divine watch. And heaven never sleeps. Heaven never sleeps, and neither does your purpose. While you rest, while you weep, while you sit in silence wondering if any of this has meaning, the divine is orchestrating a movement around your name, your assignment, your calling. And if only you could see what's surrounding you right now, the angelic forces, the generational blessings, the battles that were cancelled before they could even reach you, you would stop questioning your worth and start honoring your weight. Because you carry more than you know. And the more you carry, the more you must be concealed. That's why this season feels like silence wrapped in fire, because while nothing seems loud on the outside, there is a war of magnitude happening in the unseen. You think it's delay, it's actually divine disguise. You think you're invisible, but in the spirit realm, you're glowing like 1,000 suns. That's why you've been under attack. That's why your name has been in conversations you never entered. That's why doors shut the moment you were about to walk through, because the enemy smelled a shift, even when you didn't see it. But no weapon formed against you has worked, and none ever will, not because you're perfect, but because you're protected. Because the one who chose you has never once stopped watching over you. Not for a second. Not for a breath. Your breakdowns were seen. Your setbacks were tracked. Your every silent prayer was absorbed by a God who never lost sight of you, even when you lost sight of yourself. And chosen one, you didn't survive all that just to stay silent forever. You didn't endure isolation, betrayal, rejection, and pain just to shrink when it's time to rise. You've been prepared in the dark for a moment of revelation so blinding that even those who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge the light on you. But listen closely, because before the revealing comes, one more test remains. The test of restraint. Can you hold the vision even when no one validates it? Can you keep your oil sealed while others flaunt their emptiness? Can you protect your purpose when your flesh wants to be known, wants to be seen, wants to be heard? The enemy wants to bait you into exposure before you're fully formed. But you must resist. Because premature revealing leads to spiritual miscarriage. You've come too far to bleed out now. What's in you is not just for views or likes or applause, it's for legacy. It's for lineage. It's for the souls that are waiting on your obedience. And they will not awaken through noise, they will awaken through your fire. And that fire cannot be stirred by performance. It must be ignited by purity. So purify yourself. Quiet the need to be understood. Kill the craving for recognition. Let your wilderness teach you that validation is too cheap a price for destiny. Heaven has been too good to you for you to trade your mission for a moment. You are not a social identity. You are a spiritual entity. You are more than algorithms, more than influence, more than applause. You are a voice crying out in a generation addicted to volume, but starving for truth. And your truth has been forged in the hidden places, in nights you couldn't sleep, in tears you couldn't explain, in warfare no one else could see. That's why you move the way you do now. That's why you feel so much, see so much, sense so deeply. You are not soft, you are sent. You are not weak, you are warned. You are not lost, you are learning the terrain. And soon, your time of hiding will shift into a time of holy revealing. But not to shine, to shake. To shake the foundations of dead religion, shallow faith, counterfeit light, and lifeless prophecy. You were made to awaken dry bones. To stir sleeping spirits. To dismantle strongholds passed down for generations. And the divine watch over you has kept you alive for this. So when that moment comes, and the veil is lifted, and your name is called, walk boldly, but walk humbly. Speak loudly, but speak with reverence. Move powerfully, but move only when He says move. Because now you don't walk alone. You walk with history, with legacy, with the whispers of every intercessor who prayed over your bloodline, with the covering of angels who fought battles on your behalf, with the mantle of a generation depending on your yes. You are the answer to cries you've never heard. You are the fulfillment of prayers you didn't even pray. And it's not because you earned it, it's because you were chosen. So let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them misread your silence and misunderstand your stillness. You don't owe the world an explanation, you owe God your obedience. Keep the sacred things sacred. Protect the blueprint. Hide the oil. Don't chase the crowd, chase the cloud. Don't seek the stage, seek the secret place. Because in that secret place, your strength is renewed. Your clarity is refined. Your spirit is recalibrated. And when the time comes, the divine won't just reveal you, He'll endorse you. He'll elevate you in such a way that no man can take credit for it. He'll open doors no demon can shut. He'll align divine relationships, divine timing, divine resources, everything you need to fulfill what's been burning inside of you. and all of it will make sense. Every closed door, every betrayal, every lonely night, every anxious morning, it will all line up. Because you didn't give up. Because you didn't sell your soul for shortcuts. Because you stayed hidden when your flesh screamed to be seen. Because you honored the divine watch. And now, chosen one, your moment approaches. Stay ready. Stay focused. Stay low. And when the trumpet sounds, and it will, you will not have to fight for your place. You will rise. Effortlessly. Supernaturally. Unapologetically. And the world won't be able to deny it. You will not be introduced, you will be revealed.